just for everybody to know, there's going to be a new format to my show. I'm going to be ad-free and sponsor-free. But if you could do me a huge favor and you could share this, that'd be super helpful. And today I have Dr. Ben Marble, who is a big warrior, emergency medicine doctor, just saved hundreds of thousands of lives during the pandemic with his organization called My Free Doctor. And, he paused that effort for a little bit, but he's coming on today to tell us how he's revitalized things and tell us about how this program works. Thanks for
Sure,
coming
absolutely. Thanks for having me. Congrats on winning the election yesterday, by the way. That's awesome news. I wish Dr. Chambers would have won also, but you can't win them all. Well, we've been doing this since 2020, myfreedoctor.com, delivering free doctor visits, all 50 states of America. It's been a wild, crazy ride. I need to write a book about it one of these days, but I've been too busy working to try to do that. We've been battling the woke, I would call it the woke poison pushing enemy, the poison pushers, the people who claim poison's safe and effective and who claim ivermectin's horse paste and all that. So it's been a long battle. Had saboteurs trying to sabotage the company all along the way in multiple different ways. Had the battle with the pharmacists trying to cancel our doctors' licenses. We've had a lot of the doctors who've come through have worked for us over the years. By the way, Dr. Angie Farella was one of our doctors a while back, and she was just appointed to the ACIP vaccine committee. So congrats to her. That's awesome news. She's a great doctor. But we had to shut down. Things were since 2023, we had a lot of problems going on, and it kind of rocked the company from the inside, and have had kind of been on life support since then. I had to shut things down for a little bit, and we found a new partner to work with us to help us recruit more prescribers. And one of the big problems has been prescribing ivermectin. As you well know, you prescribe it, and then all these woke pharmacists refuse to fill the prescription. So we found a reliable pharmacy that will fill the prescriptions and mail order them all 50 states, so that our patients don't have to have to deal with the pharmacists who want to argue with them and refuse to fill prescriptions. So we just bypass them by working with this pharmacy specifically that mail orders to all 50 states. And so
are you allowed to share the name of that pharmacy, or is that too?
Well, I could, but I don't want to put a target on their back, because that's what happens. Anytime anybody's publicly working with us, suddenly they come under fire. We had multiple doctors, state medical boards coming after licenses. I have one coming after my license still. I still have that ongoing issue, and don't know how that's going to turn out. I'm waiting to hear back from the Alabama medical board on that. Why are they trying to cancel my license? I've had 5 states try to cancel my license because I prescribe early treatment for free. Told people, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, azithromycin, prednisone, the other drugs we prescribe in the protocol. I prescribed those to over 20,000 COVID patients, lost none of the patients that took the medicines. I lost 0. Meanwhile, I told everybody to avoid the COVID vaccines and that they were going to be poisoned, because I actually read all the science I could find on it before they ever came out. And all the majority of the research animals died. All the ferrets died. All the rats died. And they're like, well, seems to me like they're just trying to kill everybody on purpose, because all the rats in these experiments and the ferrets, they all died. So how they're claiming this is safe and effective and going to give it to billions of people made no sense to me. So from day one, I warned everybody about that. And because of that, I became basically the most banned doctor on earth. I've been banned from X 38 times now since 2020, which is just nuts. I shouldn't have to keep making new accounts. So that's been it's been here's what I tell people. World War III started by 2020. It's a bioweapons war. They just poisoned over 5.5 billion people with COVID-19 fake vaccine bioweapon poisons. Many millions have died. The death count, if you look at Nick Holscher's study on that, the death count so far since 2020 is higher than World War I, World War II, and Vietnam combined. Many millions have already died. So the death toll from World War III is already greater than those 3 wars combined. Meanwhile, the woke people can't even admit World War III already started. Now, just since Trump bombed Iran, recently. A lot of people are finally saying, well, yeah, this is definitely World War III. But World War III started many years ago, and we're losing. And most people don't understand who the real enemy is. It's the people. It's woke versus everyone else. It's the globalists, transhumanists, puppet masters using the woke brainwashing to spread their agenda to bring in the one world government system and all the insanity that involves. And of course, they have to destroy America for that to all work. And that's what they're actively doing with Netanyahu. Anyway, that's the politics of all this. MyFreeDoctor.com, we're just trying to help people by delivering free doctor visits all 50 states. Now we have the capability to do that again. We can handle anything that's telemedicine appropriate in all 50 US states. We can't treat in Canada or Mexico or Europe. Wish we could. That would be nice. But we're trying to keep delivering free doctor visits. It's not only COVID related. We can do anything telemedicine appropriate. Like, for example, if you have a urinary tract infection, or maybe you need a medication refill for your blood pressure medicine, or maybe you got an athlete's foot or a rash or whatever. Anything, minor things that are appropriate for telemedicine, myfreedoctor.com can handle. We treat everyone for free. We do ask for a donation. It's a pay it forward system. That's how it works. So we will ask you for a donation, but if you don't donate, that's fine. Some people can't afford to donate, but we've, done several 100,000 free doctor visits to America so far. And it's a good pay it forward model. It works. A lot of people have used it and appreciate it. We've had some kinks to work out periodically, and no system's perfect, but we're trying to do our best to help people and to keep helping people going forward. Now, all the the craziness of what's going on with the shots, but also the chemtrails and the whole entire food supply being full of crap. I mean, you got to look at the big picture of what's happening. They're trying to poison us in every way they can, whether it be spraying who knows what in the sky versus putting junk in the food and all the insecticides and stuff. So we're in a crazy time where the people who are in charge of our government are just poisoning the people on purpose. And we need soldiers to step up and target the woke enemy leadership is what we really need, because that's what we have not had in 6 years, is anybody targeting the woke leaders. Like, for example,
Let me
why
ask
is
you, hold on real
go
quick
ahead.
though, before we get, because I want to go back to My Free Doctor.
Okay.
At one point, I think you were helping people with vaccine exemptions. Are you still doing that?
We are. In fact, we're going to relaunch needmyexcuse.com. It's needmyexcuse.com. It should be going live hopefully in the next week. We're going to relaunch that idea, which is a program. What do? We do vaccine exemptions, mask exemptions, work excuses, and school excuses for anybody, all 50 states, who needs any of those. If you need a vaccine exemption or mask exemption or a school excuse, or you miss work, you can go to needmyexcuse.com. Hopefully it'll be up in the next week or so. The trick we had was have been having to sort out how to connect each state to the different state doctors' licenses and connecting the dots on that, which is kind of complicated, but we're getting that solved. And hopefully that will relaunch soon, because that's something that helps a lot of people. A lot of people have needed vaccine exemptions and mask exemptions, and the government shouldn't be able to force you to take a shot against your will if you don't want to take it, even if it actually is safe and effective. Even if it's a saline shot, nobody should be able to force you to take something you don't want to take. Certainly when it's experimental gene therapy that alters your DNA permanently.
Have
I think that's no brainer. Go ahead.
Have you been successful with these exemptions, or have you had pushback? Do you know?
In most cases, yes, they've been successful because they're legal. They're from a doctor in your state, and so they have no, And what we tell people in the few instances where they don't want to accept them is, well, your next step is to hire a lawyer because they're breaking the law. If they refuse to take a valid legal doctor's excuse, then they're violating the law. And that's where you need a lawyer. And I'm not a lawyer, but in cases where they won't take a legal excuse, then you need to call a lawyer and threaten to sue them. And in most cases, they'll drop it because they know they're wrong.
Right.
You can't force people to do this. The law's on our side. Now, of course, the woke people, they pick and choose which laws they want to follow and which laws they want to ignore. So that's part of the problem. But
right.
Anyway.
So I'm curious, why did you know from the very beginning that all of this was wrong, or did you fall for any of it?
Well, basically by March of 2020, I knew everything coming out of Fauci was a lie. That was obvious to me. And I had been, I've done ER since I did my first ER shift. I became a doctor in 97. I did my first ER shift in 98, finished my family practice residency in the year 2000, but I always preferred ER. So I immediately started working ER when I got out, did that for 20 years. Then all of a sudden, Fauci's just saying all these things that don't make a lot of sense, like the whole 6-foot social distancing. He just pulled that out of his ass. And then I had read, like probably February 2020, I read about the 2005 paper that Fauci himself wrote that talked about how great hydroxychloroquine was versus coronaviruses. And I remember Didier Raoult had been saying he'd been using hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin and zinc in Europe. And so on March 18th, I was the first American MD to publicly advocate for hydroxychloroquine, azithromycin, and zinc against COVID. A week later, what's his name? Who I'm talking about, came out. He said the same thing. I'm drawing a blank on his name right now. He's I'm talking about the Jewish guy that passed away. What was his name?
Oh,
Zelenko. I'm
not
sorry.
Zelensky, Zelenko. Yes,
Zelenko, Dr. Zelenko. He was awesome. I apologize for forgetting his name, but Dr. Zelenko a week later said the same thing in his open letter to Trump that became widely known as the Zelenko protocol. By the end of the year, Dr. Zelenko, McCullough, and there was like 57 of us that co-authored that early treatment protocol that was published on December the 30th, which was the first early treatment COVID protocol that was published. And that protocol saved millions of lives. But the problem is we had to fight the woke establishment tooth and nail just to get people the medications they needed. Because as you know, if you like say somebody lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and you send a prescription into St. Louis, Missouri to a random CVS or Walgreens for ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine. If the pharmacist at work that day happened to be a woke vaxxtard, they would not fill that prescription. And so you would waste a day or two delaying care for patients because of these woke asshole pharmacists practicing medicine without a license. I mean, and that would delay care. So that's early on, I realized stop arguing. There's no point in even talking to these pharmacists because all they want to do is argue, and then they try to report you to the medical board and get you in trouble. So by the end of 2020, I came up with I don't talk to pharmacists policy ever when they're refusing prescriptions.
Turn me into the board.
Yeah, they don't understand.
I spent about $5,000 clearing my name from that. So
correct. So I just quit talking to them, and when a patient would come say, "Oh, the pharmacist wants to talk to you," I would just immediately switch the prescription to a different pharmacy. And now we just use this pharmacy that we have this good relationship with, and that gets the patients the medicines quicker. We don't have to argue with pharmacists and waste time because delaying care, it hurts people.
Well, and you were working in the emergency room during the entire pandemic, or how?
Yeah, I still am. One of the strange things since 2020, I've been fired from 3 ERs for this very specific reason. I told patients the COVID vaccines were poison and they shouldn't take them.
And they fired you for that?
Oh, absolutely. Well, what happens is the local doctors who told everybody to take the shots get mad. They find out that you're telling people this. Oh, you told the patients I told them to take poison. Well, fuck you. We're going to fire you. That's basically what happens. And I'm like, well, see you later. I'm go work somewhere else, I guess, because I'm not going to lie to the patients and tell them these shots are safe and effective because they're just straight up poison. And that was one of the most important decisions of my medical career. Early on, I researched everything I could find on these vaccines. And in the signal groups we were in 21, we had, and even at the end of 2020, I don't know if you were in them at that point, we had a bunch of debates about this. And I'm like, look, I'm going to go with the conservative approach. This is brand new technology, never used in humans. I'm going to tell everybody it's dangerous and nobody should take it because it's not up to us to prove it's safe and effective. It's up to the manufacturer. And I had an attending in my residency. His name was Dr. Alan Perkins at the University of South Alabama. He told us anytime any new drug comes out, do not prescribe it for your patients. Wait for 5 years till it's actually out on the market. And that's when you find out if it's actually safe and effective or not. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to do it.
Just interject real quick. I had my next to last day of residency, Dr. Bill Fee chairman of our department, walked into our, that we're all about to leave and go out into the real world. And he said, never be the first to prescribe a new medication. Give it the test of time. Do not just rush and start prescribing something that has just come on the market. And for some reason that stuck with me and served me well.
Exactly. That stuck with me. Dr. Perkins was the chairman of our department. And I actually listened to what he said. How dare me? Oh, I'm so awful. I'm so horrible. But, what was shocking was the response from, Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and X and Instagram and LinkedIn, and that everybody just, as soon as I said anything bad about the shots, instant ban, instant ban. So I'm getting banned by people who maybe they don't even have a high school degree. I don't know who works for Facebook, what their requirements are, but they're certainly not physicians. They're not nurses. They're not healthcare workers. So I'm getting fact checked by people who have no fucking clue what they're talking about. When I'm literally the number one COVID treating physician on earth. I've treated more COVID patients than any doctor on the planet, is my argument. And I'm being fact checked by fucking retards. This is crazy. But this happened. And this is where, I wish I had a good lawyer that could help me sue Zuck the Cuck for about $1 billion for what he has done. Because by banning doctors like me and you and the few of us who got it right, they killed millions of people. They poisoned billions and killed millions because they would not let the truth be heard. Now, 6 years later, everybody's like, oh, well, those shots are obviously poison. Nobody wants to take them.
Right.
Except for the people that went full Vaxxtar, and they'll take 100 shots until they're dead.
What about so if you're in emergency rooms still, what are the other doctors, has their perspective changed? Are they admitting it? Or is just everybody gone quiet on
No, when you talk to other doctors about it, the default response is they quit looking in your eyes and they start staring at their feet because they're cowards and they know they're wrong. And they feel guilt and shame. But yet, well, I couldn't stand up because I gotta pay for my kids, or I got a house note, or it's like, fuck you, you fucking pussy. You're a fucking murderer. I think the doctors who push these shots deserve life in prison at a minimum. I would even favor executing all of them. But the problem is you'd have to execute about 1 million physicians and there would be no physicians left. So that's never going to happen.
Are you seeing injured coming into the emergency room?
Oh, every shift, multiple times, every single shift. And that's part of the problem when you're pointing out to the people, when you got a 20-year-old coming in having a stroke, and your first question to them is, well, which COVID vaccines did you take and how many of them did you take? And they look at you like, what are you talking about? It's like, well, that's probably why you're here having a stroke, because it's not I never saw 20-year-olds having strokes before the COVID vaccines came out. I never saw 10-year-olds having seizures a week after their COVID shots before these shots came out. Just all the weird things we're seeing. Stage 4 cancers I'm diagnosing in the ER. I used to diagnose a new cancer maybe once a year in the ER via CT. Now this is a technical thing. Can you technically diagnose a cancer from a CT scan? No, but when you see cancer all over the whole body, they got cancer. You got to send them for a biopsy. They have to have a biopsy to have a literal diagnosis. But when you see masses all over their whole body, that's cancer. And I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot of clots all over the whole body, strokes, heart attacks, heart problems, and you name it. But women that are pregnant and having miscarriages. And it's just the taboo thing. You're not supposed to tell people about it. And then all the coworkers are like, really? You think the shots are, oh, well, I only took 2 of them. Do you think I'm going to be okay? And they're like, well, I think you're fucked is the truth of it. You might want to pray and repent and hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Because what I said from the start before the shots came out is I think they designed these shots to be literal lethal injections. And the psychology of if you design a lethal injection, you design it to kill 100% of people. You don't design it to kill 1% of people. You want it to kill everyone that takes it. And that's what we're witnessing. This is the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. They're trying to cull humanity. They planned this for decades, and they already poisoned over 5.5 billion people with potentially lethal and or sterilizing injections. So I think basically we're going to see billions of people die from these shots between now and 2030. And what they're doing is just hiding the bodies. They're just hiding the bodies.
what I know that there's some question that maybe your mom got the shot while she was
Yes.
under anesthesia. What's going on with that?
Yeah, I can tell you my personal family experience. Of course, I told everybody not to take them. My uncle took Moderna. 2 weeks later, he had a massive heart attack, almost died. I had a sister-in-law who took 2 Pfizers. 6 months later, she turns up with stage 4 cancer of the pancreas. She died.
Oh my gosh.
Brother-in-law took 2 Pfizers. He had to have his kidney cancer cut out at the end of 24. He's still alive. And then there was my mother. My mother was going in to get a nerve block in her back. She refused to take the shots. They had her scheduled as the first patient that day as a, a nerve block for back pain kind of thing, epidural or whatever. So they had her scheduled for first, but when she went in, the lady at the door was like, "Yo, do you have your mask? Did you take your COVID vaccine and all that?" And they wouldn't let her in the door because she's like, "No, I haven't taken the COVID vaccine. I'm not going to take it." So they delayed her case from first in the day to the end of the day. They made her wait like 8 hours to like it was after 3 or 4 p.m. before they finally took her in, made her the last case of the day. And then after they sedated her, they gave her Moderna against her will. How do we know? Because when she came home with the discharge papers, it said, "Oh, congrats, you were given the COVID vaccine while you were
Whoa.
here." And I was like, "Mom, what is this? They say they gave you the COVID vaccine." And she's like, "Oh, well, I'm going to call them and find out." So she called. And of course, they claimed, "Well, that's just a paperwork error." Well, months subsequent to that, she had a stroke, and then she started having heart problems, had to have her aortic valve replaced. And the stroke gave her a radical personality change. She gets mad real easy and cries real easy. My mom was never like that before. So after she had the stroke and started having heart problems, I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure they lied and they gave you that damn shot, Mom." So we had the blood work drawn, the nucleocapsid antigen and all that, and the blood work proved that she had the vaccine.
Whoa.
Now, so she's got a lawyer and she's hopefully trying to sue them, but now it's a long story. Her lawyer's sick now, so that's the problem with that. So I don't know what's going to come of that, but I think my mom has a great case against them. Obviously, she did not consent to getting the shot. We can prove she did get the shot, and then she had a stroke and heart problems. So I think it's a slam dunk case, but I'm not, the problem is if you expect justice out of the corrupt legal system, the woke, corrupt, broken, we should call it the illegal system, because everything about our government and our legal system is completely broken. We need a revolution to throw all these woke people in prison and go. We should basically erase every law and start back at ground zero with the Constitution. And what is the swamp? In 1776, when the country first started, we had zero laws. And what the swamp is that they started passing law after law after law. And now we have many millions and millions of laws. 99% of them go unfollowed. That's the swamp, because you can't do anything or build anything without meeting all the codes and following all these million different retarded laws. And the people in charge and power, they selectively enforce 1% of the laws while ignoring many of the laws. Like, for example, in many states, anal sex is illegal. In many states, blowjobs are illegal. Do they enforce that? Hell no, they don't enforce that. So the woke people in charge of the government pick and choose which laws they want to enforce, and it gives us this evil, corrupt system we have. I think we need to start over, tabula rasa, erase every law, restart ground zero. We need a revolution to throw all these traitors in prison. Anyway, I could get off topic, but what's going forward? We know what's happened in the past, kind of what's going on now. The whole Maha movement was hijacked by Casey and Callie Means with the focus on all the food stuff. Granted, yeah, the food's crap, but it's not the poison that's killing everybody in a quick time frame. The poisonous food takes decades to kill you, not weeks or months like the shots. So that's kind of interesting what's going on there. Certainly, getting Dr. Farella in on the vaccine committee is great news.
Oh, and wait, just to interject, they are accepting comments this week, ASIP, because the next meeting.
That charade. That's all a big charade.
Well,
We've done this. How many times have we done this same charade? Well, we'll give you the courtesy of letting you comment, and then we'll take all the bad comments, and nobody will ever see those.
All right.
We
I
won't
know.
let we won't
Yeah.
actually let anybody that actually speak in the meeting that opposes what we're doing. They'll let the bargainers speak, like Malarkey McCary, the world famous
Well,
bargainer. You know how I position everybody. We had a choice. We had one of three choices when these shots came out. You were either for them or you were against them. The right docs of history, like me and you, we were against them from day one. And then there were the bargainers. The bargainers were the worst of all. But the bargainers like Malarkey McCary, Dr. Oz, Bhattacharya. I like Bhattacharya on a personal level, but he was a bargainer. He said, and Malarkey McCary, they said, well, kids don't get COVID. The kids don't really need the shots. But, ooh, the old people, we really need to give the old people the poison. And lo and behold, what happened? Millions of old people listened and took the shots and then died.
yeah.
Because they're trying to erase the boomers. They don't want to have to pay off all these pension plans. They want to just kill everybody instead. And then they were, kill all the old people and bring all the Muslims here from Africa and just do the replacement migration. And we'll just shuffle all the chess pieces around the board while we're putting in this one world government digital currency system.
I
And
want
that's
to
what's
ask
happening.
you, when you were working, well, during the height of the pandemic, did you get pushback from your hospital when you were prescribing ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, or was it just over the COVID shots?
Well, it was both. Certainly in 2020, when we were just figuring the protocol out, and I was working in a little small town ER in Alabama, and I was prescribing ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine, and I was telling these, I'm in the ER. What happens when they have a code, when somebody can't breathe, all of a sudden they have to get intubated? They call me to come run the code and intubate them. So I'm getting called to all these codes because these doctors, they're prescribing like low dose of steroids and giving them remdesivir and all the crap that didn't work. And they're calling me to run their codes and save their patients at the last minute. I'm telling them, look, hey, maybe y'all should start prescribing the hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin like I am, because guess what? None of my patients are winding up in the hospital. And all of you guys' patients are crashing and burning, and you're calling me in to save them when you've totally mismanaged their care. And so I had the doctors, they kind of got a little pissy with me over that. And then I remember one patient, the patient I think gave me COVID. It was like a week or so before Christmas of 2020, I had to intubate this woman who was like 400 pounds, and it was not an easy intubation, and flew her out by helicopter and all that. And lo and behold, a week later, I come down with it on Christmas Day, and I got pretty sick, but of course I started the protocol and all that. Going on into January, part of the problem I had was I stopped taking the meds a little too soon. And then I got a rebound illness the second week and got pretty sick. Well, I was off work the whole week of January. I had to go back to work finally in February. My first 3 shifts back, they're telling me, oh, by the way, you got to take the COVID vaccine. The CEO wants 100% compliance with this COVID vaccine, of course. And I'm like, well, I just had COVID, so why would I take the COVID vaccine? Well, the CEO wants 100% compliance. I'm like, well, too bad, I'm not taking it. So I had to sign a little waiver. 3 shifts in a row, I had the same nurse. I called her Nurse Ratchet. She was one of your chain smokers. It was like a 3-pack a day, and she would dress like the bubble boy all day at work, wearing all the mask and the booties and just completely covered like bubble boy. She was just living in fear, this woman. She's probably dead by now, imagine. Anyway, Nurse Ratchet, the third shift I come back, Nurse Ratchet comes at me. She had to cap off the needles. Oh, you ready for your COVID shot? She was just
Oh,
messing with me because she knew I hated it. And I'm like, look, bitch, you need to get away from me with that shot. And I told everybody there at work, I said, you can thank Nurse Ratchet here. This is going to be my last shift. I'm not working here anymore after this because I'm not taking that damn poison shot. I'm not doing my family any good if I'm dead or disabled. Now, in hindsight, I should have let them fire me, because then I could have sued them for wrongful termination. I shouldn't have quit. I should have let them fire me, is what I learned later. But that's what I had to deal with. The house staff mocking me for prescribing that. Well, that's horse paste. What are you doing prescribing antiparasitics for COVID? I'm like, well, what are y'all doing? What you're doing is leading everybody to the ICU and being vented and killing the patients. And what I'm doing is not. So fuck you guys. I don't care what you say. You
what
can make fun
what
of me all
about
you want.
what about breathing treatments in the hospital? Because that was super controversial early on. I remember
Yeah.
I did them in my office, and I've moved people to their cars to do them because I thought, they were going to come get me, OSHA and people were freaking out about you can't do breathing treatments.
Yeah, that was like everything was counter common sense. Okay, you got a respiratory illness and you don't want me to give somebody a breathing treatment. What is wrong with you?
All right.
What is going on in your brain? No common sense at all. And certainly the obvious, the inhaled steroids was a no-brainer because it's the anti-inflammatory effect. It's common sense that should help. And of course, budesonide, inhaled budesonide, turned out to be one of the best treatments for COVID. Dr. Bartlett, of course, was early on that. So thanks to him for that, because he tipped me off to that. And sometime late summer, early fall 2020, when we added that to the protocol, I guess it was, which has been very helpful and very good. Inhaled budesonide is great. But the problem is, just like, the old phrase, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. You can lead a horse to ivermectin, but you can't make him think it works for him. The people just did not want to believe, and this is the problem. It doesn't matter if you believe arsenic is safe and effective. If you shoot yourself up with arsenic, you've been poisoned and you're screwed. It doesn't matter if you think cyanide's safe and effective. If you take 10 shots of cyanide, you're going to die. So the fact that people believe the poisonous fake vaccines were safe and effective did nothing other than prove that they were brainwashed idiots that would, follow the crowd off the cliff. And this is what we saw. People, the sheep diving off the cliff and all the sheep jumping off the cliff behind them. We're like, hey, quit jumping off the cliff, you fucking idiots. What are y'all doing? Well, you're the bad guy. We're going to ban you. How dare you say that? How dare you tell people not to take poison? You're the bad guy. We're going to try to take your license, and we're going to try to cause you grief and trouble all the time. And, I use it occasionally. I cuss too much. That's part of living in the South. I'll blame it on that. Maybe I got vax-induced Tourette's. That's my other argument.
Wow.
But when people are being poisoned by doctors, that's the weirdness of this global war. There's the psychological warfare, the biological warfare of it, and the brainwashing that is political correctness, also known as the woke mind virus. I argue that the woke mind virus is the worst brainwashing in human history, far worse than Nazism, anything Hitler did, far worse, because Hitler never poisoned over 5 billion people. We've never gotten 5 billion people to do the same thing ever in history until the woke brainwashing convinced everybody to poison themselves. So that's the power of this brainwashing in the media. But, the thing is, if you're in the middle of a coal, surviving the coal is winning. So this is a weird asymmetrical war. Some people call it, fifth generation warfare, whatever name you want to give it. But this is not normal war. Surviving this war is winning. They've already I think now it's too late for most people. All the people that already took I hope I'm wrong on that. Believe me, I hope I'm wrong. But I think billions of people are going to die between now and 2030. And it's going to be the people who took the shots that are going to die if they don't seek some sort of treatment, some sort of spike protein detoxification. Now, do we have a true cure yet for the spike protein poisoning? No, we don't. It would be nice if we could find one. Why aren't the doctors who were supposedly so big on this, why aren't they searching for the cure? Like Dr. Evil One, the guy who brags about inventing the poison. Why isn't he searching for a cure? Makes no sense to me, going around giving speeches, bragging about how you helped create the worst poison in human history. Why is that guy a leader? That's not a leader. Doctors that don't actually treat patients. So we got a lot of fake leaders that have been propped up. The bargainers, Malarkey, McCary, Bhattacharya. Dr. Oz is the worst. Dr. Oz was in favor of transitioning children. I think Dr. Oz needs his dick cut off. Let's transition Dr. Oz. Let's cut Dr. Oz's dick off and shove it down his face. How about that? I'm just joking, of course. I'm not promoting violence. I'm a doctor. I'm not planning to kill or hurt anybody. I swore an oath to protect life. But when you see billions of people around the world being poisoned by woke poison pushers like Dr. Oz and Dr. Malarkey McCary and Dr. Death Fauci and Dr. Dick Hertz Hotez and Paul Prophet Offit.
What do you think about Casey Means?
She is incompetent. She's in way over her head. She's clearly bribed. She's woke. She is the woke enemy I'm talking about. She's the enemy of humanity. The woke world war is the woke people versus everybody else. That's how I see it. The people who think woke is good, it's just good manners. No, woke is not. Woke gets you killed. Woke wants to shove poison into your child and kill your child or sterilize them. Woke wants to cut your little boy Johnny's dick off. Woke people are all insane. They should be locked up.
I would imagine in the emergency room, did you come across parents who were very insistent that you give their kids the COVID shots?
Well, that's the good news, because in the ER, the only vaccines given in the ER are the tetanus shot. Now, I've had people come in requesting, like, sorry, we don't give COVID vaccines in the ER. And I wouldn't take them. Even if we did, I would tell you not to take them. But yeah, luckily we don't give vaccines in the ER, because I would probably be fired by the first week if we did. That's the challenge. How do you keep a job in the broke woke system, the hospital system? That's the challenge, because if you tell, like, for example, if you tell a 400-pound person, hey, guess what? Newsflash, you fucking need to lose weight, you fat pig. Suddenly you're the bad guy. Now, you never say it like that. It's like, okay, you weigh 400 pounds and you're here in the emergency room and you're complaining about your feet hurting, and your feet have been hurting for 20 years. Gee, do you have any idea why your feet might hurt? I have no idea. I don't know why they're hurting. It's a great mystery. And then I'll be like, do you want me to tell you the truth of why your feet are hurting, or do you want me to lie to you because you might get your feelings hurt? Oh, I want to hear the truth. Well, your feet hurt because you weigh 400 pounds, period. Right. Your body's not meant to support that much weight. And then usually they start crying, or they get mad, or their husband wants to kick your ass. And then they go complain to the administrators. Oh, he's such a meanie. He says I need to lose weight. And then the problem is all the staff, they all weigh 300 pounds too. So they all hate you too, because they're a bunch of fat, lazy pigs. One of the places I got fired at was 2 reasons why I got fired. I told fat people to lose weight, and I told people the COVID vaccines were poison. But at that place, I think it was more about the weight, because it was like the fattest hospital I'd ever worked at, where all the staff were like 300 pounds or heavier. It was weird. It was like, and all they would do is sit around and snack all day long. Well, don't you want a Twinkie? Don't you want some fried chicken? Don't you want? I'm like, no, I don't want to be a fat pig like you are. I don't want to sit around just shoveling food in my face all day long. So we got this morbid obesity pandemic globally going on, coinciding with the retard pandemic.
Are you seeing side effects from the GLP-1s in the ER?
Not well. The one thing I've seen a few of is small bowel obstructions, intestinal obstructions. I've seen a few of those, people coming in with abdominal pain, and you scan them, and oh, lo and behold, you got an obstruction. Well, they've been on the meds for 3 or 4 months, and they suddenly wind up with an obstruction. Well, maybe you should get off that stuff. I'm not a big fan of those medicines. I can see in certain instances where they may be helpful for some people, but there is a risk involved with those. Of course, they're saying that, oh, they got Ozempic face or whatever, where they look sort of anorexic just from losing the muscle mass in their face. So, I mean, overall, certainly, I think the healthy way to lose weight, certainly carnivore diet, low sugar diet, and, routine exercises, the healthy way to, eat healthy, get outside, get lots of sunlight, and moderate exercise is the healthy way to lose weight. But everybody's lazy. Everybody wants a quick fix in modern society. And so that's just how it goes. But, pushing, pills and prescriptions is kind of a dying model, I think, in a lot of ways, because so many of these medications, as it turns out, turn to be bad. Like, the cholesterol, the whole cholesterol discussion, which is something I never believed in, the anti-cholesterol drugs anyways, because they harm your liver, was what I always remember about. I'm like, I've never prescribed those drugs because they fry your liver. So, and your brain runs on cholesterol. So why would you try to, eliminate all your cholesterol? It's just, it turned out to be a big fraud. But a lot of allopathic medicine in the past 100 years has turned out to be a big fraud, because Rockefeller basically bought allopathic medicine and wanted to push his synthetic medications that are derived, petroleum derivatives. A lot of them are petroleum derivatives and byproducts of the petroleum process.
I assume you don't get flu shots anymore. Did you used to get a flu shot every year?
I used to. I think the last time I got a flu shot was around 2016 or 2017. It's been a while, because I noticed it sure seems like everybody that gets the flu shot winds up with the flu, and they didn't seem to help. But at this point, knowing what I know now, I'm not taking any vaccine ever again. Now, I tell people, they want to label us as anti-vaxxer, which I'm fine with that label, but I call myself an ex-vaxxer because you have to take a lot of vaccines just to get into medical school and to go through it and all that, as you know.
Right.
And I had always taken all the vaccines when I was younger and through medical school and all that. But certainly the one that kind of started raising red flags with me was the Gardasil shot, the HPV vaccine. Seems like it was probably the deadliest vaccine of all prior to the COVID
Right.
vaccines coming out. And I warned my daughters, don't take that crap. Um, and that's when I kind of started waking up to it all. But certainly the past several years have woken me up to a lot of things that turn out that we thought we were just lied to in so many ways in medical school. And the whole, the AMA, they're woke, they're kept,
Mhm.
the problem with woke is fake science. Woke, they always say, trust the science. Well, they trust fake science, but they follow the fake science that claims men can get pregnant, people can change their sex, poison's a safe and effective vaccine, it's okay to sterilize or transition children. That's all fake science. That's not real science. So when they claim to follow the science, they're just straight up lying. And that's the nature of woke, is it's fake science, and the people who are captured by it,
When,
um,
when did you
they're
graduate from medical school?
97, 97.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's changed. I mean, maybe I was just clueless, but I mean, we didn't have any of this gender stuff going on at
Correct.
all in our
Oh,
training. I mean, that was
absolutely.
not part of
No.
pediatrics, is to look at, oh, well, maybe this little boy is actually a little girl. That was not even on.
Yeah, it's nuts what has happened. We had it because I don't know what year you finished, but I had like 5 years before we were doing paper charts when I first became a doctor, before
Yep.
the EMR hit. And I'll tell you, we should go back to paper charts because paper charts were 1,000 times better than the EMR. The EMR has destroyed
I
healthcare.
love the paper charts.
It was
Yeah,
just
you
way
had to
better.
take
You could do a paper chart and then take a picture of it, and that would be an EMR. But paper charts, the workflow is way better for the doctors. The doctors and nurses aren't stuck behind a screen typing all day, and then the patients complain they were playing on the computer. Well, we weren't playing on the computer. We were doing your chart because Obama, by law, said we had to do an electronic medical record. So we have to sit there typing all day, which is a total waste of our time. They make doctors and nurses, they turned us into data entry clerks. So
Mhm.
it's a horrible, inefficient system. It doesn't work. They ruin healthcare on purpose. The EMR, Obamacare, and then Fauci are the three things that have just completely destroyed the trust in the American doctors. And most doctors, 99% of doctors, you should not trust right now. And that's part of the value of myfreedoctor.com is we can help you to avoid the woke poison pusher doctors, by coming to us, and we can handle the low hanging fruit, easy stuff that save you the convenience of not having to go make an appointment, wait a few hours in a doctor's office or whatever, and have to go through that old rigmarole, for minor things that should be easily handled via the internet. So
What
that's where we help.
are you? What? So Makari, or I can't remember your nickname for him, but he has talked about making medications over the counter, more medications over the counter. So if you could choose, which medications would you make over the counter?
Certainly, I would make ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine both over the counter, and I would pull Tylenol off the market.
Full
Tylenol,
time.
Tylenol, Tylenol is the number one cause of liver failure.
Do you see
Period.
that in the emergency room?
Oh, all the time. You get some 15-year-old that does a suicide attempt and swallows a bottle of Tylenol, and what they don't know is they just fried their liver.
Mm-hmm.
If they come in immediately, maybe not, but if they wait 12 hours, then they just fried their liver and they're going to be screwed. Tylenol is a horrible drug. I mean, there are times when it may help a little bit, but in general, that's a bad drug. Tylenol is way more dangerous. My point on that is Tylenol is way more dangerous than ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine. It's not even close. And Tylenol has been over the counter for decades. So why these two very safe drugs couldn't also be over the counter makes no sense to me. It's all about money. The billionaires that are in control, they want to control the flow of the money, and they're anything that works, they kill. They're trying to maximize death. They don't want us saving lives while they're trying to kill everybody. How dare us try to defy the call?
Well,
that's what's going on.
The other thing we didn't talk about is monoclonal antibodies. I'm sure you
use
those a lot, right? Because those worked really well.
I gave those a lot. They worked really well. I took them myself when I had COVID. I survived. They were great. And then, of course, Dementia Joe canceled them. Like I said, anything that worked, they canceled. Like they started trying to make it hard to get over-the-counter vitamin D and the other over-the-counter vitamins. They're making it hard to get.
Well, you know the timing. They canceled them in the fall of 2021, right when they mandated the shots. And right during the fall of 2021 is when everything hit the fan. People were getting really sick with COVID, and then they mandated the shots. They smeared ivermectin. So that was August 2021 when they went after ivermectin publicly, and they took away monoclonal antibodies all at the same time. Also, that people would get these shots.
Certainly, that's when the shot hit the fan.
Yep.
Right around that time period, make a pun out of it, but that's what happened, and we witnessed it, and then we tried to warn people about it, but then we were vilified in the process, which is just the weird thing about it. You're trying to help people, and people are trying to, that's part of why I made myfreedoctor.com, because I knew that they were going to say, oh, you're just trying to make money and be a grifter and this and that. I'm like, screw you guys. I'll just treat everybody for free, because that has nothing to do with it. It's not about trying to make money. We're trying to help people. And so we created this easy pay it forward system to do that. And we've tried to help as many as we can, and we'll keep trying to do it as long as we can. It's a good system. It works well. When we got to get people to remember we're out there and to come into our system, and that's how we get the free doctor visit to them and treat them and get them their prescriptions they need. We're also we, like I said earlier, anything that's telemedicine appropriate, we can handle now. And so we want people to know we're out there and to use us. And hopefully we will be, going another 10, 20 years or even longer. It would be nice if I could hand it off to somebody else at some point in time and let somebody else run it and give me a break. Jeez.
That's an amazing idea. I love it. What are telemedicine laws like now? Because I know during the pandemic it was relaxed, but are you having any trouble?
Well, this is part of it, and the PrEP Act is still in force. So those telemedicine laws that allow us to practice all 50 states are still in force. But we have doctors that are licensed in all 50 states, so we don't even have to worry about that now. But the PrEP Act is still in force. Now, there are people who are calling for Trump to repeal it, because apparently that's the path to actually get the shot stopped, is if they actually go ahead and Trump has the power to repeal the PrEP Act, and then maybe they could stop these poisonous shots. The problem, of course, is Trump going full retard for Operation Warp Speed, and still bragging about it. And that's a huge problem. Operation Warp Speed was Trump's probably his single biggest epic failure of his whole life. And he don't want to hear that, but that's just the truth. You sped up the approval process for these drugs so that over 5 billion people could take poison. That's not a good thing. That's stupid. That was fucking retarded, Donald Trump. You did something fucking retarded, you fucking idiot. Okay, I don't know how to be more strongly worded with that. I hope somebody lets Donald Trump see this video. The Operation Warp Speed was an epic failure. You fucking idiot. Stop going full Vaxxtard for poison. The COVID vaccines are all poison. They need to be pulled off the market. I would tell him that. I like Trump. I would tell him that too. Well, supposedly he took it. Do you notice he had looks like shingles on his neck this week? The pictures of the red rash.
I think that's I think he has skin cancer there, and it looked like somebody had excised the cancer, and it was.
Well, we certainly know what causes cancer.
Right. Well, and then I think he has either a reaction to Neosporin, or he has fluorouracil on there, or there's something.
I got you.
But that was
You're probably right, but that rash looks unusual, and I'm going to connect that rash to his shot he took. Now, I don't know which shot he took, if it was Pfizer or Moderna or which one, or how many he took, but he does seem mentally slower than he used to be, period. Now, this is the thing I've been seeing a lot of in the ER, people coming in, and that's why I'm calling it a retard pandemic and why I call them retard shots. I will have patients come in, they don't even know why they're there. Their family made them come. You'll ask them, what's going on? I don't know. I don't know why I'm here. What year is it? Oh, it's 2010. They have no idea where they are, who they are, what year it is. They're completely out of it. I'll scan their brain. I'll find brain damage all over the place. And then I go look at their record. Oh, they took 4 shots or 5 shots or whatever. That's why I
Are
started
they
calling them retard shots. And then I'll talk to the family. Was this patient, like I got one guy who had, I think, 4 Pfizer shots, and I had a normal brain scan from 2019. The guy was, people don't like the word retard. I think if you're offended when you hear the word retard, that you're just proving that you're retarded, and that you're captured by the woke mind virus brainwashing. Retard is a word that has meaning. It was called mentally retarded. That was a medical diagnosis. And of course, it turned into retard for short, or tard would be the shortest version. But it's a word that has meaning. And these shots cause brain damage, microclots, destroy areas of the brain. I asked this man's family, was he normal back in 2019? Oh, yeah, he was very mentally normal. And all this is new. And the guy's now literally retarded.
Mm.
And he's got brain damage all over. I could send you the screenshots of it. I have to remove any identifying information, and I've just been publishing these pictures and little short videos of the brain damage I'm seeing in the vaccinated, and these people coming in that are now literally retarded. They didn't used to be retarded, and it's after 4 and 5 COVID vaccines they're suddenly retarded. That's why I'm calling them retard shots, and why I say people are going full vaxxed for these retard shots, like Donald Trump. The people who keep taking them, they're all going to be dead soon. There's no hope for those people. The people who took 1, 2, or 3 and realized that the shots were poison and stopped taking them, maybe there's hope for those people if they can get on nattokinase or ivermectin, nicotine, the other various treatment options we have for the vaccine injured. Certainly, I hope I'm wrong about that. And I hope all those people survive, because I'm talking about my mother. I'm talking about my sister, my brother-in-law. My other family members that took them. I don't want everybody to die, but going back before they even came out, I said I'm pretty sure they're designing these to be lethal injections to kill everybody. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks like I was right, and I think billions of people are going to die if they don't, get treatment. If we don't find real cure, we need scientists to be looking for the actual cures. Certainly, my hope is I'm hoping that maybe frequency, I'm sure you've heard of the med beds and the frequency therapy with resonant frequency medicine. My thought is maybe there's a resonant frequency that can make the spike protein disappear, like the opera singer that shatters the wine glass. If you hit the certain frequency and bombard the body with it, maybe that will break down the spike protein. Nobody's figured that out yet, but if that's one treatment option possibility, I hope down the road that we can figure it out, because we have billions of vax victims who need treatment, as long as they're alive for the foreseeable future. Now, if they all wind up dead, I guess they wind up dead and then they won't need treatment. But we're trying to offer what treatments we have and search for new treatments, and hopefully we find better treatments over time. Step one, though, you have to stop taking the poison. The other thing that most people totally screw up is they keep going back to the poison pushing doctors. That'll never, you took this shot, this doctor told you to take, and then you had a stroke, and then you're going to go back to the same doctor? Are you retarded? It kind of seems like it.
All right.
You keep going to the same doctor who poisoned you, who will never admit it was the poison shot that caused the problems, which means they can never treat you appropriately, because they would be confessing to, poisoning you. And they don't want to get sued for malpractice. Or if you're telling people to take poison on purpose, you could get arrested for manslaughter or murder or whatever. So the doctors are stuck in a legal trap.
What about VAERS? Did you report any to VAERS? Did the ERs discourage? Did they mention VAERS to you? Like, oh, if you see a reaction, please report to VAERS.
It's never brought up. It's never mentioned. It's never brought up. The reality is they don't want you reporting them. and they make the process so time consuming in the ER, you can't actually do it. You don't have time to do it in the ER.
Right. But they never, I mean, I didn't know about VAERS prior to the pandemic. I mean, granted, I wasn't giving out vaccines at all, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Now,
I
I
don't remember
remember
being
vaguely hearing about VAERS here and there, but certainly nobody ever encourages to report anything to VAERS. No, never.
Right. All right. Well, tell everybody where, give the website again. And
it's myfreedoctor.com, 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 spelled just like it sounds. And soon we'll have needmyexcuse.com back up for people who need mask and vaccine exemptions, school excuses, and work excuses. That should be up soon as well. And we're just trying to help as many as we can and keep opposing the woke agenda. We don't want people to be poisoned or to take poison, and we don't want poison to be in our food or in our shots or sprayed in the sky. We want people to be healthy.
Great. Well, thank you. And is it you just sign up and you get an appointment that day, or how does it work?
Yeah, you click. I can step you through it. Let me pull it up on my phone because there's a very specific. This is, and some people get confused with this. I look at the website. It looks pretty simple to me, but when you go to myfreedoctor.com, there's a red area where it says consult today. That's the area you need to click to get to the doctor. All the rest of the stuff is just information on other things and ways you can donate and get in touch with us. But the way to get your free doctor visit is to click that consult today button, and you go from there.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Ben. You're always a breath of fresh air. I appreciate your
well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Keep up the fight and keep doing all the good that you're doing, and we'll keep trying to do, keep fighting these crazy people and end this woke insanity that we're all witnesses to.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much. Keep fighting.
Right. You too.